are everywhere, whether you're running a business, managing a team, or operating heavy machinery. But here's the thing, you can't manage what you don't measure. That's why today we're diving deep into how to conduct a risk assessment, a structured way to identify, analyze, and control potential hazards before they turn into costly problems. I'll walk you through each step with clear explanations and real world examples so you can apply this process immediately. Let's get started. First, we'll define what a risk assessment actually is, because it's more than just a formality. Then, we'll break it down into 5 actionable steps: identifying hazards, what could go wrong, determining who's at risk, employees, customers, or the public, evaluating risks and implementing controls, how do we reduce the danger, recording findings, why documentation matters, reviewing and updating because risks change over time. By the end, you will have a complete step by step blueprint to follow. A risk assessment is a proactive approach to safety. It's not about waiting for an accident to happen. It's about systematically identifying what could go wrong, analyzing how severe the impact would be, and then putting measures in place to control those risks. For example, if you run a construction site, a risk assessment would help you spot dangers like unstable scaffolding or electrical hazards before someone gets hurt. It's a legal requirement in many industries, but more importantly, it's a best practice for any organization that values safety and efficiency. The first step is all about spotting hazards, anything that could cause harm. Let's break down the categories. Physical hazards, things like exposed wires, wet floors, or heavy machinery. For example, in a factory, unguarded equipment could lead to serious injuries. Environmental hazards, extreme temperatures, storms, or even poor air quality. If you're in an area prone to floods, that's a risk you need to plan for. Operational hazards, supply chain breakdowns, staffing shortages, or equipment failures. Imagine a restaurant losing power. How would that impact food safety? The key here? Be thorough. Walk through your workplace, review accident reports, and talk to employees. They often know risks that management overlooks. Now, ask yourself, who could be harmed by these hazards? Not everyone faces the same risks. For example, employees working with machinery are at risk of physical injury. Contractors might not be familiar with your safety protocols, increasing their risk. Visitors in a warehouse could trip over equipment if pathways aren't marked. Customers could be affected by food allergies if a restaurant doesn't label ingredients properly. This step ensures your safety measures are targeted. There's no point installing cybersecurity controls if your biggest risk is a slippery floor for customers. Here's where you prioritize risks based on 2 factors: likelihood, how likely is this to happen? A data breach might be low probability for a small business, but a slip and fall in a busy store could happen daily. Severity, how bad would the consequences be? A minor cut is low severity, but a chemical spill could be life-threatening. Once you've ranked risks, take action using the hierarchy of controls. Eliminate the hazard if possible. Example, replace toxic chemicals with safer alternatives. Reduce exposure. Example, install guardrails on elevated platforms. Mitigate with protective measures. Example, provide PPE like gloves or masks. For example, if employees work late shifts in a high crime area, you might eliminate the risk by changing work hours, reduce it by hiring security guards, mitigate it with safety training and emergency protocols. This isn't just paperwork, it's proof you've taken safety seriously. Documentation serves 2 key purposes: legal compliance. Regulators or insurers may ask for records to confirm you've assessed risks. Continuous improvement. By tracking hazards and solutions, you can spot trends. For instance, if multiple near misses happen in the same area, it's a red flag. Use a simple template to log the hazard. Example, unguarded machinery, who's at risk. Example, assembly line workers, controls implemented. Example, install safety shields. Date of review. This becomes your safety playbook for future audits or training. A risk assessment is not a one-time task. Why? Because new hazards emerge. Maybe you introduce new equipment or software. Laws change. OSHA or GDPR updates might require new safeguards. Your business evolves. Scaling up, going remote, each shift introduces new risks. Set a schedule. High-risk industries, review quarterly. Low-risk offices, review annually. Always reassess after incidents or major changes. For example, if you switch to cloud storage, reassess cybersecurity risks even if your last audit was recent. Let's recap. Identify hazards. Look everywhere, from physical dangers to cyber threats. Assess who's at risk, employees, customers, or the public. Evaluate and control risks. Ask how likely and severe they are. Then take action. Document everything for legal protection and better safety tracking. Review regularly because risks don't stay static and neither should your plan. By following these steps, you're not just complying with regulations, you are building a culture of safety that protects people and your business. If this guide helped you, hit that like button. It helps others find this video. Got a specific challenge? Ask me in the comments. And if you want more actionable tips, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching and stay safe.